Hey everybody, and welcome to the Draw My Life video, which I will be going through all the experiences I've had in my life so far. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. On the 12th of April in the year 1990, yes, you heard correctly, 90, the 90s, the greatest years of human history, yay, the greatest decade ever in my own experience, of course. This strapping little baby was born. And for those of you that know me, you know that I'm not a chunky person, but I had quite a bit of a tummy when I was a baby, in so much that my mother nicknamed me Bubba Tub, a nickname that will stay around to this day and one that my wife actually uses. But my parents decided to name me David Michael Brown. I was born in the United States of America, more specifically Florida. And more specific than that, the city of Ocala in Central Florida, which in my opinion is the greatest city on earth. I was raised by my two parents. I had an older sister and a younger brother, and honestly I have nothing but fond memories of my childhood before grade school. I just did a lot of playing, like any kid would do. And yes, you do see a bunch of mullets there. Besides my sister, she's lucky she was half black. But I am so glad that did not last very long. Early on, I grew up in the city of Bellevue, which is located next to Ocala, in a little mobile home. And that mobile home was right next to my grandpa, Papa Roy. And also, we live right next to my cousins from my dad's side, Amber and Allie. And also, every once in a while, my cousins from my mom's side would come over and we would all get together and play and get in trouble and act crazy. Like I said, I have nothing but fond memories of my childhood early on. But one day, everything would take a turn for the worse, and our mobile home caught on fire. I don't specifically remember how it caught on fire. I could ask my mom how it did, but that's not the point. The point is it caught on fire, and I don't remember anything ever being stable after that for a long time. After that moment, I know I'm drawing a mullet, but I don't think my dad had a mullet at that time. As a kid growing up, I had quite a few interests, some of which included playing with my siblings, which I'm sure my mother loved us for because it was 100% innocent 100% of the time. I loved drawing. My Uncle Jason got me into Dragon Ball Z, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I drew Dragon Ball Z a lot. But my mother didn't approve of it because she saw the show as being violent. I actually remember her sitting me down one time and talking to me about it because I was watching it behind her back. And I know that she was doing this out of love, but I actually happened to convince her to watch it with me, and she approved after that. I also loved music. I love singing, even though I'm not very good at it. My grandpa Hawkeye gave me my first drum set while I was in middle school, and I also fell in love with that. I didn't find it very hard making friends, although I do remember when I was young I had quite a bit of a stutter, which caused me to fail second grade. And now to get into the best memories I have of my childhood, and that is by far spending it with my cousins. This picture that I'm drawing right now particularly is a representation of a photo that was taken of all of us on top of a skateboard ramp at my grandpa Papa Roy's house. From left to right, we have Zach, Matt, Corey, Mike, and me. We played games such as Sticks and Rocks, where we would literally pick up the biggest stick or the biggest rock we could find and just chuck it at each other. We were pretty brutal with each other, and I actually remember one time, I can't remember why I was upset, but I was upset laying on the skateboard ramp crying, and one time Zach just came right over to me, squatted down, and let one rip right on my face. And I was so upset, but looking back, that was probably one of the funniest moments that I can remember of all of us together. We used to do things like streak at nighttime in the middle of the road. Yeah, that was us. We were weird. And we were actually really big into video games also, especially Halo. We played everything, but we binged on Halo. Funny story, in Halo you can actually run people over with the vehicles and quote-unquote splatter them. So one time my brother thought it would be a good idea to change his gamer tag to Corey's Wang. So every time he ran over somebody in Halo, it would say, "You were splattered by Corey's Wang." Yes, that was our childhood. And let's not forget also the split screen. We all know how that went. Now the time leading up to middle school and in middle school got pretty rough for me and my family. I was growing up and learning more and able to see a little bit more, and my parents were constantly fighting. My dad was heavily addicted to drugs and alcohol and was also cheating on my mom. I remember this one time specifically where me, my dad, and my brother all went up to Tallahassee, and mind you, me and my brother were probably 9 and 10 at this age. We all stayed in a hotel room, and one morning, me and my brother woke up, and my dad was just gone. Not only was he gone, but he also took the money that we had earned working with him. So we got kicked out of the hotel. We hopped from hotel to hotel looking for food. We managed to find a phone, and we contacted our mom, and she drove all the way from Ocala up to Tallahassee to come pick us up. Now, I don't remember when the next time I saw my dad after this was. It could have been days, weeks, or months. I'm not sure. My mind is fuzzy on that part. But I do remember that all throughout middle school, my dad was in and out of jail constantly. One thing that really helped me out through this time was meeting my lifelong best friend, TJ. We met towards the end of elementary school, beginning of middle school, and we clicked immediately. And I am best friends with him till this day. And let me not discount my cousins, who I can also call my brothers. Like I said before, my dad was in and out of jail, and I can't imagine the struggle and the heartache that he put my mom through. But she was a very strong and independent woman, and she was very strong in her faith, which I thank God that she passed down to us. And throughout all the trouble that she went through, she was actually able to manage to put herself through nursing school and get a degree just to take care of us. Now we get into high school. High school was pretty routine for me. I followed the sheep. I woke up, I went to school, I hung out with friends after school, did my homework, and repeat. During this time, my parents got divorced, and my mom got remarried to her now husband, Lance, who is a very good guy. I started to pick up a little bit more self-esteem. I hung out a lot with TJ, and he knew how to box, and he used to kick my butt. But he did teach me how to box, and eventually I would be the one who would kick his butt. You see that guy being punched in the face? Yeah, that's TJ right there. So I got into television production in high school, and I loved it. I did 4 years of that. I also went to art in high school, which honestly I did not like very much at all. I was hearing a lot of voices in my head saying, no, not worth it, can't make a career in art and it doesn't pay. So I got burnt out and I got discouraged. So I wouldn't draw for another 12 years, or at least consistently. So right before high school ended, I got into a car pileup leaving high school, and this was an event that will affect me for the rest of my life because it tore both the labrums in my shoulders. Everyone else was okay, Devin, Corey, and Brandon. Funny story, Corey actually jumped out of the car and ran because he thought it was going to explode. Anyway, this event changed me for the rest of my life, and right after high school, I joined the Navy. And honestly, the Navy wasn't all that hard. I was always a pretty physically fit person besides the accident I had been in, but I was only in the Navy for about 10 months. In between that time, I was having increasing shoulder pain, and I actually visited the Navy medical staff for help. But I didn't mention on the Navy application that I had been in an accident, so they were not willing to help me. They had said I quote-unquote lied on a government document and threatened to dishonorably discharge me. So I told them I was fine, but this actually sent me into a spiraling depression. I was in pain, I didn't have family, and my life could potentially be over from a dishonorable discharge. I kept asking myself what was the point. And honestly, I didn't see a point. I wanted to end it. But I think that the thing that helped me out the most during this time was my faith. I remember that Elijah the prophet, one of the greatest men in the Bible, was suicidal at one point during his life, and God helped him through his troubles. And I believe that God did send me a friend during my time in the Navy, whose name was ironically Corey, just like my brother. And he informed the medical staff that I was not mentally stable. So they actually took me away, and I saw a psychiatrist for a few sessions, and then they ended up giving me an honorable discharge. And that was a major turning point and the end of the naval era. So the next 10 years yielded their ups and downs, from 2010 up until now, 2020. In 2010, I was honorably discharged from the Navy. I moved back in with my mom in her house for the next few weeks while I went to school to get my CNA, my Certified Nursing Assistant license. With the license, I went and got a job at Ocala Health and Rehab, where I worked at for a decade, up until 2020. We'll get to that. And in 2010, at Ocala Health and Rehab, I met the love of my life, Maria Gill. She was everything I could ever ask for in a woman. She had a great personality. She had long dark hair, big beautiful eyes, and she was goal oriented, and let's not forget she was a spicy Latina. And you'll never guess how I managed to pick her up. Yep, you guessed correctly, my art. I drew her a big beautiful rose and she was love struck. You can tell by the look on her face and those hearts. So that was the beginning of our relationship. In 2012, we got married. It was one of the best days of my life, by far. Definitely top 3, maybe top 10. I don't know. I have to debate that with her. Also in 2012, I started college, nursing school specifically, which was a pretty good challenge for me. So all in all, 2012 was a pretty good year. 2013 had its ups and definitely its downs. I graduated nursing school, which was great, but sadly my Papa Roy had passed on us. This was a really hard time for me and my family especially. I feel like Papa Roy had been the rock of our family for such a long time that a lot of us didn't know what to do after he had passed. I remember plenty of times where we didn't have anywhere to live, and his door was always wide open for us to come and stay there when we were going through troubles. I know that he's missed every day by all of us in the family, but I also know that he is up in a better place right now and he is happy. You know, come to think of it, I've never seen him without a beard. I wonder if he doesn't have a beard in heaven. Nah, he definitely has a beard. Coming up to 2014, this was a very special year. This was the year I became a father. I had my first child, whom I named Elijah, and 11 months after that, in 2015, I had my second child, and I named her Chloe, and it got crazy after that. They are so close together. They fought all the time. Actually, they still continue to fight to this day. I think 2015 is the first year I actually had a panic attack. 2015 to 2020 have been some of the best years of my life. I consider myself very blessed. I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 beautiful children. I have a nice home that I like. I have 2 cars and I've graduated college, but there is still the problem with my shoulders. In 2015, I had my first surgery on my left shoulder, and in 2017, I had my second surgery on my right shoulder. And I was feeling really good about myself. I was in the gym consistently. I was making gains. Everything was going fine. Come 2020, I was still working in the nursing home, and if any of you have ever worked in a nursing home, you know that it is a lot of heavy lifting. You're picking patients up off the floor, and it's not like picking up a dumbbell. You are picking up 100 to 250 pounds of dead weight, or even worse, patients who are fighting. And it can be very, very tiresome, especially for males in this profession. So that year was the year that I pretty much burnt myself out in the nursing home. And my wife was constantly encouraging me to pursue a career in arts. Now, I never thought I was professionally enough, but I am my own worst critic. But after 10 years of her encouraging me, I finally decided to step out into the dark and pursue a career in art. I don't know how it's going to go, but I do have a lot of high hopes. There's a lot of questions in the air, but I have a lot of faith that everything's going to work out. Now, before I end the video, I do want to say there's a lot more that I could have said, but for the sake of time, I am not. Memories that have been good and bad that I could have talked about. One thing I do want to mention is that I do have a good relationship with my dad right now. All has been forgiven, and I have been spending a lot of time with him, and things have really come around on that front. And to that end, I want to end with this. Throughout all my life's experiences and all the troubles that I've gone through, I would say that this pretty much sums up the whole thing. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." And that's what I'm basing my life off of, hope. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.